ask to turn towards Nawel and ask you the first question. So we mentioned the role of talent in the development of AI ecosystem and how it is important to be able to build on AI skills as soon as possible. But I imagine the role of universities does not stop there. Could you tell us why you felt it was important to have an AI university, the first of its kind in Africa, and how do you see your role over, knowledge transmission?
Well, thank you for the question. I see that universities in Africa need really to think out of the box. It's not about the classic model of universities, which that we all know about, to prepare talents, to prepare leaders for tomorrow, for this new ecosystem. Okay, it's very important. We all agree about that. So we need to be as near as possible to startups. Why not also have incubators inside universities and have a maximum of degrees in AI, I mean, in all Africa, and to really announce this, this part of this element of parameters inside degrees, studies at universities. But I think it's not only about that. So I think that really universities need to be to support companies right now, because it's not about only the new ecosystem, but it's about the existing ecosystem, the existing company, the classic industry, okay? So how we can support today the classic industry, how we can be with them to have the smooth transition between the classic operations, how the way is doing inside companies, to the new innovative operations, including AI, because we know that AI will be everywhere in the future. I mean, we all need shoes, okay? The industry of shoes will always be here, but it's not, it will be changing with AI. I mean, the operations inside this industry will be changing, but how universities today can support the decision makers, people inside company, the operational people, and also people who are thinking about professional reconversion, because we know that jobs, even jobs are changing. In the future, it's not the same today. So this is a part, very interesting part of responsibility of universities, that need to work, join programs, join research and development projects also with companies with real data. And this is the difference, because before we work as all universities in Africa and the whole world work with theoretical research, theoretical approaches, okay? But now the challenge is the data, how we will find the good quality of data. And I can tell you that the future war in the world is the war of data. Data will be very, very precious in the future. It's very near. It's in 2 or 3 years. So today, many countries all around the world, and I can give the example of China, have understood this, and they are preparing themselves for this war, and because they are preparing infrastructures, but also talents. They are preparing, their universities are working really straight to the point to prepare the talents in AI and data. So for us as universities in Africa, we need really to focus on that research and development projects together with companies with the real data. So it's about discussion, real use cases. It's about developing use cases. So this is my message today, that we really need to be together, universities, existing new business model, companies, and also the new business models, ecosystems, to really raise this level, as I told at the beginning, level of awareness about AI. This is our mission today.
It's super interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nawel. And if I understood correctly, the collaboration with corporates, between universities and corporates, could go both ways and should go both ways. Not only should you be able to work closely with them to help them transform and adapt, but also they can real use cases and real life use cases, so that you guys can work on real data to pursue your research and the adaptation of your programs.
Yes, it's both sides.
Yes.
So the first, it's the use cases. The first is research and development projects with real data, but
Yeah.
also support corporates
Yeah.
in this transition and upskilling the corporates, because today we have developers, many developers in company, but this job will disappear in some years, you see. But developers need to upskill themselves to be AI developers in the future.
Yeah.
And this is the role of universities, really to upskill these people and to empower them with AI.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
I want to ask maybe one question on top of that. Do you have a concrete example of collaboration that you guys have pursued at your level at university with, as you say, a classic company?
I mean, we have many examples. So, for example, the innovative model. I mean, the new model like InstaDeep, they're already our partners, and I mean, we have potential partnership with them. But also in healthcare sector, we have companies, we have many banks, also insurance, that our companies also, that the classical model of companies, and we are working with them among, I mean, trainings for even decision makers people, which are not IT people, without IT background, but with our approach, we really support them to understand AI, because they really need to be aware about AI, so that can shape the strategy of AI inside their companies. I mean, today it's not only about IT people, it's even all people inside companies, and even in our daily life, need to be aware about AI and need to understand AI, so that they can deal with AI in the future, because AI is everywhere today, and in the future it will be more and more everywhere, you see.
Absolutely. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Nawal,
Thank
for your answers. Ibra, I will turn towards you today now. So Ibra, you work in a very large tech company called Microsoft that has been at the forefront of the AI development in the last decades. Could you tell us, please, what role do you have now at Microsoft, and what efforts Microsoft is pursuing in helping create or foster AI ecosystems in Africa?
Thanks. I think Dr. Nawal has highlighted what I like to call the baseline, because she talks about data. Because when we think about AI, we can't do AI without data or without enough data, because machine learning is based off good data. So I like to think there's this term that people use, say data is the new oil. So AI, you can use it to make kerosene, gasoline, and all the other things that we can use to do greater things. In terms of my role, actually, so Microsoft is quite large, but I'm in Azure, and I kind of specialize in customers or startups that are developing technologies in the data and the AI space. And I have a team of engineers. So when that initial foundation is actually developed, because I work with customers that kind of have a sort of understanding level of how to use these applications. Now they might have more complex challenges, where we have the experts that are actually building the Microsoft Azure products in the AI and the data side. So I do praise these engineers to kind of help when the issue is actually something that can't be resolved by just reading documentations and papers. And we have a range of different customers. You range anything from a Series A customer to OpenAI, who's also to Amadeus. So we have a range of different customers that we deal with. But if a customer is developing something interesting and challenging, then that's what my team look after. In terms of, I'm quite glad you showed earlier that Microsoft are actually spending 50 billion in AI. I mean, this is a focus. We constantly reminded by our CVPs, the CEO in town halls, that this is the focus. And in ourselves also, we are more receptive to customers that are developing in this space. So we investing a lot of engineering time. So part of that 50 billion go into that, because some of these services that we provide to customers by coaching and technical advice is actually is for free if the customer has the right challenge. Microsoft also, if we talk about across Africa, I mean, there's a range of different initiatives. There's things like Microsoft AI for Good, where they're helping African startups, researchers that are developing AI solutions, especially in healthcare, climate change, any customer within like the African regions development is something that's gonna help solve a current local challenge, but also with the view of solving a global problem, have access to the resources, and they come with a range of different benefits. It could be engineering time, it could be advice, it could be credits to use on Azure. All this is bundled up in some of these sort of programs, and also we invest in a lot more in Africa with the Africa Development Center in Kenya, Nigeria, and that is all about AI, upskilling, training, and we also do it, sometimes with collaborations with universities, where we fund, courses, and we bring Microsoft people to actually go on the ground. So there's a lot going on there. It's an ongoing thing. It's a priority. I think now is the time to engage. Those that engage early have really the opportunity to kind of grasp these benefits and these opportunities that exist.
Super cool. Thank you so much. Lou, I'm going to turn to you now. As a reminder, Lou is a managing partner at Newton Partners, but also the founder of a super cool startup he showed us very recently. So Lou, I want to ask the question to the investor first. How do you assess the current opportunities in investments in AI startups in Africa? And in your view, how can we make them more appealing?
Cool. Thanks for the question. Your slide earlier on was just a reminder to everybody that the opportunity for building foundational models is not an African opportunity. And I think that if you look at the economics of that, so the reality of what is the cost per token and how it's gone down over the last 18 months, you could also argue that we're never going to get to a point where we're going to spend $3 trillion in data centers to power a $100 million language model, because at some point in time, the money dries up and the economics don't work. And never is a long time, but do I think it's going to urgently happen in the next 3 years? No. Do I think that we must get to GPT-6 or whatever that model is in order for us to have anything useful? Absolutely not. And I think that the cool thing about it is that we all new emerging technologies go through the cycle of sort of going, what is it useful for, and how effective is it, and how mature is it, and where do you fit it into the technology stack? And I think that those principles never ever go away. So it's still very much a question of like, what's the problem, and who are you serving, and how do you create something compelling, and how do you ensure that it is orders of magnitude better than the alternative, so that people will change behavior when they suddenly start to use the tool. So the only difference here, maybe not even a difference, is just to go, well, where in the stack are you trying to address the problem? And if you're trying to build a foundational model, you're not going to get the billions of dollars that you think you're going to need. But there is a lot of other value that can be created, and even the use of the terms like incremental innovation, for me, can be deceiving, because it suggests that only really breakthrough things happen at a certain layer, like, for example, at foundational models. And I don't think that that's true. I think that there is a lot of interesting applications of technology, or rather applications of technology at, say, for example, the application layer, that are going to happen. So to a comment earlier on as well, there's not going to be, it's a little bit like 1999 all over again. We have, or even, 2008 when we had mobile. These technologies are going to be embedded into everything. And if we look back in 10 years' time, we go, you're not going to ask sort of, does it have AI or doesn't have? It's obviously going to have AI, because AI is going to embed it into everything, because it enables you to automate things that are difficult to do at the moment. It enables you to do things that humans are good at, but also have limitations in terms of our ability to process a certain number of parameters over a relatively short period of time. So I think that the challenges that we have as startup founders is to go, well, don't start with the technology in mind. Start with the problem in mind and go, what's the appropriate technology to use? And if the appropriate technology is AI, but all for it. Pick an AI model, use it. There are really, Henry was on the stage earlier on, and I can't emphasize how useful AWS's AI tools are. So for example, if you really get into the nuts and bolts of it, and you kind of get into this idea of retrieval augmented generation, which is like using external data sources to enable AI models to do thinking, or if you want to do model fine tuning, which basically means take something like Llama 3.2 and change its weightings in its neural network so that it thinks differently about a specific knowledge area. Those tools currently today, they sit inside AWS. You can access them. You don't have to be a computer scientist in order to use really, really powerful technologies. So the point, once again, goes, what is the problem that you're trying to solve, and is this appropriate technology? And I think that you shouldn't worry about, am I going to be destroyed by the next big LLM model? When I say don't worry about it, I mean there are certain things that I think that they are going to be better at. So, for example, if you have a startup today that does, I don't know, image recognition, or if you does something like, text generation, I think you're really going to struggle to create something compelling in the long term, because that is right in their firing line. But if you have access to things like, you have data sources that they don't have access to, you have data that doesn't lend itself to being to have synthetic forms of it created, and by what I mean by that is, for example, like, let's say you do, I don't know, cat recognition software or something like that. I think that it's relatively easy to create synthetic images of cats. And so I think that those kinds of things are going to be difficult for you to compete with. But there are lots of things that these LLM models will not go after. I do think they'll eventually go up to the application level, because I think that's where the value will be created, and so they'll start to compete with their biggest customers. But they're still going to be limited by how much money they raised and how big the market opportunity is. And so the idea is, what can you find which is a compelling, defensible place to be, where you can leverage the best-in-class solutions available at that point in time. So don't get stuck on, I must use OpenAI, I must use Anthropic, I must use whatever. Use the best tool at that point in time. They're all kind of much of a muchness, because it's a hyper-competitive space. They're all competing for the same talent, and so ultimately these models tend towards a similar sort of result. Last comment on this is that the cool thing about it is that even in the European tech ecosystem, so this is not an African problem, even in the European ecotech system, you've got like LF0, that it's a German AI startup that's doing foundational models, and they were like, you know what, we give up. We're not going to be doing that anymore. Let's go do something else. And that doesn't mean that there's, once again, that there's no opportunity. Same with Mistral. Mistral said, okay, listen, let's focus on, a specific use case. As it turns out, they went for developers, and that might also very well be where OpenAI is going and where Anthropic is going. But the point is, like, figure out what that market opportunity is and go after that.
Thank you, Lou, and thank you for the perfect transition to Hakim. So, Hakim, well, I will give you the chance to talk about Cloud Plexo and introduce to us what you do at Cloud Plexo. But you are a user of AWS suite of services, so maybe you can relate on how you built, actually tell us about the story of Cloud Plexo, how you built upon of these existing tools, and what value are you currently able to provide to your customers through this?
Okay, thank you very much. For Cloud Plexo, so we are an advanced partner with AWS, and we have a quite large number of experts that deal with AWS services, and we come up with AWS solutions and architectures, in the best practice to ensure that these resources are used while they are cost optimized, and they actually used based on the requirement of each of the solutions that are being developed on AWS. So one thing that has been observed basically with AWS or all this big tech infrastructure has been that it's usually complex to use, and it's complex to understand, and also it's complex to manage. So it's really require some level of expertise to ensure that you're actually doing things the right way based on the best practice, and then you are not overusing over provisioning resources. So you're actually using the resources that are required for your solution at that time. So, like for instance, if probably you require some amount of instances to run your applications, your solutions, and then you could be provisioning something higher which would actually eat up your cost, and that will actually, get you discouraged to even use this big tech infrastructure. So Cloud Plexo, as an advanced partner, can actually help you in designing your solution architecture such that it's cost optimized, and also it's actually efficient enough for you to power your solution, and you don't have to worry about the management of the infrastructure itself. We can do the management for you while you focus more on your innovations and developing your solutions properly for your customers. Yeah.
Okay, so when you talk about solution, you mean cloud solutions, right?
Yeah, cloud solutions.
And including data storage, but also cloud computing?
Yeah, data storage, in terms of data storage, cloud computing, even AI. We have a whole lot of AI solutions on AWS, and they are easily accessible, on AWS. And with CloudPlex also, we kind of give that support to ensure that you use the best tool for your best solution. Like for instance, if probably you require a solution that needs multiple models, foundation models, there's Amazon Bedrock on AWS that you can leverage on, and you can use a whole lot of foundation models on it. Just one service that can provide different foundation models for you. So there are a whole lot of stuff that can be on AWS, and through CloudPlex, so you can get the best of these resources on AWS. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Turning to you now, Wasima, to close the first round of questions. You are passionate about CSR and sustainability. Can you tell us what are the best use cases you have witnessed of applications of AI applications in the fields of sustainability, CSR or reporting, and how you see the potential of the technology in your case?
Yes, of course. Today it's about the youth, and now today it's talent, about startups, and they are really involved on the growth of the ecosystem. In Africa, we are really caring about sustainability, and today it's not a choice. Everybody knows about the climate change, and this is very related to AI help. It means data today is very important to help companies to take care about their sustainability, and this is focused on setting up corporate social responsibility responsible in each company, and this is very important to provide all informations to these companies, and they can rely on startups working on these informations data, and AI can help providing all these companies with these informations. Today, taking care about the environment is not a choice, it's an obligation. And if we are speaking about sustainability, we must focus on thinking about how we can take care about our sustainabilities, because today some companies can be risky, and some companies can have a very high footprint. And Africa is well known with that. Africa has a very high footprint, and providing AI solutions and giving data to companies to help them reducing their footprint is very important. And today we are speaking about environment and social and governance reports. These reports are giving informations on footprint solutions and footprint. It means maybe it's high or it's not high. It's on carbon footprint, of course, and the data today is helping companies to reduce this footprint, and AI is now the main solution to help these companies to take care about this footprint. And today, if we are speaking about corporate social environment, AI can help on that, and startups can also think about making solutions to provide companies how they can have the maximum informations about this indication of footprint in their system. Data can provide efficient solutions to reduce waste, to reduce carbon consumption, and of course to be sustainable as possible, as helping the future and environment. And this is raising money today can be green. We can have funds to think about sustainability of business, and this is very important. And we really rely on startups thinking about these kind of solutions to provide this data.
Amazing, thank you so much. Maybe one quick question. I see we have 10 more minutes, so I will give you the opportunity to answer one more question each. Talking about sustainability, there has been a lot of concerns about the level of energy consumption, especially that is attached to AI models, or at least to most AI models. And you are convinced that AI could be a useful tool to help us be more sustainable ourselves in our different activities. How does that work? And isn't it a little bit, I mean, how does that work, and what makes you so convinced that it can work in that sphere?
Yes, using carbon today, there are main questions: how we can reduce that, and how we are using this carbon in our companies. Sometimes companies are asking themselves, we are not using so much, but it's not true, because in any kind of sector, the footprint is related to everything. It's not only related to technology or to electricity or to high use of technology, of electricity, sorry. But today, startups can provide solutions to this responsible of corporate social environment in the company, to help this person or to help this group of persons taking care about the footprint in the company. Because today, if we are thinking sustainability, it's really reducing the footprint and reducing the use of carbon in each kind of sector, not only IT. Technology can help reducing that, and startups can be really very helpful with this kind of technology and innovation.
Great, thank you. We can see that this topic is very complex and requires probably the collaboration among different players. So the last question I will ask to each of you is how and who would you like to turn towards to enhance, to initiate a kind of collaboration from your perspective that could help your organization? I will start with you. We have someone from Microsoft here in the panel. If you had to imagine a collaboration with Microsoft at your university, what would you ask for, and how do you see it taking shape?
Absolutely. So, of course, we can collaborate, and we are open for many links of collaboration since technology is here. So, of course, we need to use this technology and to develop this technology, because we have both sides, both kind of degrees in universities, in Prestige School of AI, and also in, I guess, in universities in Africa, and we should have. So it's different between having the need to use AI, I mean, all the kind of talents like business intelligence or whatever, based on another domain, but they need to use AI. Okay, this is the first side. The other side is people who will be able to develop AI. And this is another kind of degrees, another kind of diploma and programs. So here we prepare people, we prepare students, and we have these degrees, of course, as applied artificial intelligence, that they are dealing with data, they are dealing with models, they are developing models, and of course we will work we need to really collaborate with Microsoft, with Amazon, and we already have so many solutions that NVIDIA also is our partner, so we are open for all the potential partnership that can really raise the level of competences of our students, especially for those who need to develop these models. So of course, as university, we as I told you, we need to think out of the box. We need to be not only university that provides diploma, but need to be a partner for in building this new ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Nawal.
Thank
I
you.
think Wassima, you
My
wanted
pleasure.
to jump back on this very shortly, please. because we
Yes,
still have to finish.
maybe shortly. Maybe startups are thinking about turnover and benefit, but it's not sufficient. Today, really, it's related with sustainability. They can raise money, they can have funds, but what I suggest is how they can diversify their activity to go straight to the way of sustainability of business for all sectors. We really rely on this youth, and we really rely on these startups in AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can keep the microphone. I will turn to you, Ibra, very shortly. I know Microsoft, and you related about it already, is doing a lot in terms of collaboration with many different types of partners. But you mentioned one very important point about data when you started talking earlier. Well, obviously, it's a very large problem that needs to be tackled from different angles. What you, as Microsoft, could do to help tackle this problem, and with whom you will need to work with in order to be successful in that.
Yeah, thanks. Again, thank you for the data question. I think maybe one of the ways that we're thinking of solving that particular problem is by making capacity more available across Africa, because as you know, regulation can also be a problem, especially when you look into healthcare. You earlier talked about the data center in Jamnyajo, but that's still a sovereign data center. Of course, there's limitation to sovereign data centers because what is available out there can sometimes be more proficient than what could be available at the sovereign level. So what we're doing more partnership with government. I think recently there was a contract with the government of Saudi Arabia where we actually jointly going to build data centers across Saudi Arabia. I think having our governments to engage, with us locally, that sort of type of partnership could be more beneficial because, of course, Microsoft has the skills of, building data centers, having the right skill set. So governments having partnership with companies like Microsoft, although those deals can be really complex, could be one ways of helping solve this challenge. But of course, again, building on the local talent, help companies build data companies that are gonna solve those issues. Because as large corporations, there's only so much we can do. We need the startup founders to, at the ground level, if the capacity is available, if the capability is available, to kind of design those softwares and applications that's gonna solve this problem. So again, yeah, we open. I think if you're a startup, the first step is to look into Microsoft Founders Hub. If you're more advanced than that, there's different ways to reach out. I'm myself here today, so if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you.
Yes, thank you indeed. Public-private partnership seems mandatory to tackle such a question. Lou, turning towards you now, this time with your hat as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur building an AI solution that is dedicated to the financial industry and to the world of investments, what key partnerships do you think you would need to take your venture forward, and what lessons we can maybe learn for that to other startups around?
So I think the best analogy of where we are at the moment, at least in my mind, is imagine that an alien spaceship arrived here and dropped a piece of technology in front of us. And suddenly we had access to this unbelievable piece of technology, but we didn't have the skills to use it. And that's, I think, where we are at the moment, where for a long time this technology appeared to be advancing really slowly, and then suddenly, boom, here it is available. No, it wasn't really slowly, it just wasn't linear progression. But the point is that we now have this ability to use tools that we don't know how to use, and we don't have enough people in the workforce that have the skills to be able to use the tools. So I really think that we have to think differently about how we resource our companies, our startups, everywhere. So one of the first people that I'm going to corner immediately after the session is to speak to Dr. Nawal about how do we participate in programs to get more people into data science, computer science capable, software engineering, and how do we benefit from researchers that are working on things that are useful? Because if you cannot go out there and recruit the people, you have to make the people. And it might feel like a really long way of going about it, but the reality is that So we're based in Amsterdam, and I can't tell you how weird it is to have the conversations. You're literally, it's like a dating game, looking for software engineers and data scientists, where you kind of have to explain why you're the exciting thing that they should be working on. And then they'll tell you, well, I have 5 other options, and this one will pay me, and this one will give me 4 days off a week to do my research. And you're like, it's kind of difficult to compete with that. So I think that the reality is that you have a unique advantage, I guess, in some ways, for a short period of time, where not everybody kind of knows what's happening in Tunisia in terms of your opportunity in deep tech. So I think that I certainly, as a founder, would like to take advantage of that and see whether or not we can recruit some people to work here on problems that we're trying to solve at a global level.
Excellent news. Don't hesitate to prepare your CV and you know to whom to address it. To conclude, Hakim, you will have the heavy task of the final word. Liam just talked, Lou, sorry, just talked about the hard task of finding talented engineers, cloud engineers. You're a cloud engineer yourself from Africa. I will just give you the floor to talk about the perspectives that young engineers like yourself may have, or the obstacles that they encounter in their journey as students and then as younger professionals.
Okay, I think one of the problems that comes along with learning or gaining the skills of being a cloud engineer is access to resources, and also access to practicing, because basically if all you know about is just to read the documentations and all, it's not enough. You need to have an hands-on experience with all of the resources for you to be able to make use of them efficiently. So the best way to do this, there are so many resources online, and I feel one of which I will mention here is AWS scholarship. So AWS do give some scholarship through Udacity, especially mainly for AI learners that want to come into the AI world. So that's one resource that you can actually check out. And with this, you can gain, it actually brings one up to speed, from whether you're not a programmer from onset, you can actually have this knowledge from there. And it's actually on 2 stages too, so you have the advanced one. So depending on your performance on the first stage, that would also bring you into the advanced level. And then with that, you can actually gain more experience. You have access to resources, because they give a demo, so an open resource whereby you can actually try out things, what you've learned, and then you can see how it works. You can also, practicalize, and also by the time you are coming out to the world, to the labor market, you definitely have an hands-on experience about how things work in the cloud. How you can actually manage most of these resources and all. So majorly, it doesn't just stick to just being able to read the documentations alone. You need to do more on practicing, on hands-on experience very well. So, which is one key thing that is very, very important when it comes to cloud engineering.
A very valuable piece of advice for the students around. That concludes our panel. Thank you all for listening, and thank you to our panelists for answering. Please remain here for the audience questions. So we will pass a microphone towards you. Please don't hesitate if you have any question to our panelists. Okay. And you can applaud them, of course. Thank you.
Questions? Okay. Okay.
Hello. Thanks for the interesting discussion. I'll keep it short. I have 2 questions. The first one is for Dr. Nawal. And you spoke about the duty or the need for universities in Tunisia and in Africa to build AI talents. But realistically, do you see your university graduates as people who will actively build projects around AI in Africa, or do you see yourself more as readying free talent for the West and for global startups to just benefit from them? And the second question is for Lou or for any of the other panelists is, how do you define an AI startup? Because now it's, as you talked about, it's become kind of the shiny object trap where everyone's just using AI as a shiny word to get funds or to build an exciting project. So how do you define an AI startup? Does it have to have proprietary technology, or does it have to just build on the application layer and have true utility? So these are my two questions.
Okay, so we take another one, right in front of you, yeah.
Hello. So yeah, I think I'm going to build on your first question. Lou mentioned that there is an issue with hiring talent or like tech talent, and at the same time we have a university that's developing tech talent. But with the challenge in the African continent of having a population growing at a very fast rate, maybe it's also an opportunity to develop many engineers in the future to solve these problems. So my question maybe to Dr. Nawal is, how are you planning to maybe develop engineers or to train engineers at scale to respond to these problems?
Thank you. Another question? Yeah, there you go.
Yahya Youssef, Tunisian diaspora. What do you think about the project of diaspora in Tunisia? Can Tunisia hub for the clouds for Africa and Tunisia hub for big data desert? What do you think about? It's possible for Tunisia to make this project in Tunisia. Thank you.
Okay, is there last one? No? Good? Okay, perfect. Oh, there you go. There's another one.
Yes. Thank you very much for this event. Just an information for the ecosystem with the relationship between universities and artificial intelligence. I am here as the Dean of Higher Institute of Digital Engineering in Tunis, specialized for artificial intelligence, and I am here with my future engineering. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good. Dr. Nawal, go.
Okay, thank you. So I will answer the first question, and I will repeat it so I just to make sure that I have understood it very well. So it's about we prepare talents and competences for the West or for Africa labor market. That's it. Okay, so first, it's not about preparing talents for the projects and then having degrees and then will be in the embedded or integrated in the labor market. Our model is really to be involved from the beginning through internships and to be very near to the ecosystem, including startups, including also the companies, so that students will have practical training, so they will be aware about challenges in their professional life. But we cannot decide on them, it's about their decision to be in the West or in Africa. But what we can say from our side, what we can do from our side is really to encourage so many events, hackathon, to be involved with startups in Africa. And what we are encouraging now students and also working with companies, with many partners all around the world, I think the best model is really working from Tunisia to provide and develop solutions for the whole world. This is a very good model. I mean, Tunisia have a very good weather, good quality of life, and people, and it can be such kind of a kind of advice for youth today here to really think about working to develop solutions, be innovative, and be really connected to the whole world. But you can do it from Tunisia. You can do it here. And even today, as Unstudy, for example, and many other startups, successful startups, have developed a platform, I mean, human resources platforms in Tunisia, working for solutions and being connected with other companies all around the world. So it's not about exporting talents or competences to work abroad. Of course, I mean, we provide them for opportunity. We give them opportunities. We give them the chance. Then we invite so many stakeholders to the universities. We are very close to the system, but the choice, I think, it's about this student. It's about the way that he wants or she wants to live, Tunisia or abroad. The most important thing that today Africa needs African people to stay in Africa and can be connected to the whole world, can develop solutions, but we really need to stay here. And we have so many opportunities because all the world is coming to Africa today. Today, Africa has so many opportunities, and many countries from the West, from the East, etc., are aware about that, and they're coming to Africa to build, to develop. And so I think that we, as Tunisian and African, need to be really aware about that and make this choice as priority. For the second question, just it's for me, and after I will give you. Just can you remember? Can you just remind me about the question? Okay.
Your question was concerning how can this university improve talents and improve startups, right?
Yeah, so the question is specifically with regards to scalability. So there is a huge opportunity and a challenge at the same time. There is many youth that are ready to learn. So how are you planning to teach these youth to respond to the hiring needs, I would say, of companies abroad?
Okay. Well, the hiring tech people is really challenging today. And keeping tech people is more challenging than hiring, okay? And we as universities, we are working, and especially as Pristini also, and I encourage all universities to do so on, the same model. I mean, we work as work-study programs with companies that these kind of programs can help keeping talents and people inside the companies, and for 2 or 3 years, because turnover is already, I mean, huge in the tech domain. Otherwise, it's we as university, we prepare the best talents, the best competences, okay? But companies need really to keep these opportunities. Keep these talents inside the company. It's always about the opportunities, about the career, professional career. It's some kind of partnership, okay, between universities and companies. But after, the responsibility will be 100% with the professional environment, you see. So, Wasima, you want to?
Quickly, I will just give you an example. I'm a teacher in this AI university, and I'm teaching how we set up business. And students are very, very smart. They are not thinking about leaving Tunisia, but they are thinking about their business in the future. And all of them have a startup idea, and we are working on helping them to set up their business, how to make turnover, and how can this business be in the export. It means they are not obliged to leave their country in Africa. They are only obliged to think how they can develop their business outside from their own country. It means it's not impossible. Really, the relation between students and professional side is very important, because today youth is based on a smart intelligence. It means AI is very, very helpful today to the growth of each country in Africa, and your university is working on that.
I turn to on the men's side on the left. Do you guys want to react and add a comment on this, so we close the panel?
Okay. I'll add a sort of my own perspective on this, which is, it probably feels a little bit like, not too long ago, Henry will know the exact date, Amazon had developed, I think it's called EC2, EC3 in Cape Town. And suddenly Amazon created this sort of regional hub, and it became almost impossible to hire the best engineers, because you're competing against Amazon, you're competing against the potential for these people to kind of move to Seattle and become part of the bigger picture there. And it felt for a long time that like you just couldn't match salary, you couldn't match benefits, you couldn't match potential. But what happened is that people slowly but surely were either like, I don't really want to work in that environment, or I want to be my own boss, or I want to be back in South Africa, or any other number of things that happened. And slowly but surely you get this sort of initial response where everything is focused on large organizations coming into the ecosystem. And this is good because it improves bench strength. But over time what happens is that you get a sort of a gradual normalization of this. And so the ecosystem is stronger, and I think that overall it's a good thing. But in the short term, it does feel, I think, a little bit like a shock. And so I think it's more about, to the comments made here, is that think about what you're trying to achieve rather than, am I going to be, I don't know, the product of some Western company.
Thank you so much. Well, it's time to join me in applaud to thank our panelists.